Hello, hello, hello. It's Helen here, aka Be Deliciously Abundant, and welcome to another series, another interview. I do apologise. We're running a bit late. It was so funny. My wonderful guest Laura came on, and I couldn't hear her, and so she went in and out, in and out. And I'm telling her, giving her tips to what to do, and then I realised that I've got my sound right down. So bless her, I'd muted her out. But welcome, Laura. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And Laura's one of my guests. I don't know much about at all. All I know is that she's managed to manifest amazing things. So I can't wait to hear her story. So please go ahead, share your story, Laura. Laura, introduce yourself. And so pleased to meet you.
Hi, Laura Brownwood, and I'm from San Diego, California. And over a decade ago, I joined a company, and we were to read Think and Grow Rich. And so I did. And as I'm reading through there, I am going, aha, aha. I was like, oh my goodness, because I have manifested the most amazing homes since I was 17 years old, whether I had $500,000 in the bank or less than 1,000. And it doesn't make any difference. And when I realized what I was hearing about, if you believe it, you can achieve it, I had that. And this is the part that I love to share. And I hope that you're open to hearing this aspect of it. I wasn't 100%, oh yeah, I'm going to be living in mansions and blah, blah. I wasn't that, but it was like I had this wonderful desire, and the doubt was minimal. I just kept loving the thought of the desire. So my very first home, that place that I lived by myself, was actually, I'm Southern California here, up in the mountains is where I live. And I end up 10 blocks from Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. I'm 17 years old.
Wow.
Then my second place was a little cottage in Manhattan Beach, California, half a block from the Pacific Ocean. Then some other fun places, but the first house that I bought was in Santa Barbara, California, half a block from the Pacific Ocean. We've got a little theme going on here. We could hear the waves at nighttime. We could see the ocean sitting on the front yard. Yeah. Now, I was married to a wonderful, wonderful person who's still my really good friend. And he was a gardener making minimum wage. And we ended up with this house. Then we ended up moving to Oregon. We wanted to raise our children in the country. And so we end up getting, now he's a gardener, minimum wage, you got that.
Yeah.
Extremely good looking with a lot of charisma, and there's like 500 women who would like to still nag him, but I mean, nab him. But we are, we look at this piece of property in Oregon that 20 acres, a 6-bedroom house, and a guest house, automatically controlled greenhouse, organic garden, barns, outbuildings, and fields of fescue hay. And the people wanted us to be the ones who bought it, but he's got to get another job up in Oregon. So they give us the contract of sale, no interest for 6 months, and an amount that we can pay on basically his minimum wage. Wow. So we end up in 2 years selling that place, making a profit, and buying a natural food store. And in addition to that, we buy a 3-story, 7-gable Victorian house on 30 acres. It was just, we bought it from the homeowners, from the, I mean, the, back in 1904, from the people who originally founded it. I mean, built it back in the dark ages. And it was just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous. And
Can I interrupt you, Laura? Sorry, for other people who are not in the US, what's gable mean?
Oh, 7 gables is there's the roof.
Oh, wow.
There were seven different, three
Yes.
stories on this beautiful, beautiful view with a little creek and a pond down in front.
Yeah.
So then from there, we decided we wanted to build our own house, and we wanted to do it debt-free. Now we have a natural food store. We weren't making millions, but you know, we were making some money. But the money part, listen to me, the money part doesn't make any difference. It doesn't. The universe will provide however it needs to.
Right.
And so we ended up, we really wanted to do it debt-free. So we finally got a contractor. 5 said, no way, you're not going to be able to build it. And so we finally get one that says, yes, we can complete a first floor, and then you can finish the second floor whenever you have enough money. And so we're moving along, and of course we're $10,000 short. I mean, construction happens, things change. And so I'm running, I'm at the store, I'm at the cash register, and I'm $10,000. Okay, so so this lady walks in that had shopped in the store on occasion, but she walks in and she goes, okay, you're usually singing and whistling. What is going on? And I told her, I said, well, we're blah, 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 blah. And I said, we're 10,000 short. So I'm just trying to, she gets her checkbook out and she writes out a check. I mean, I didn't know her name. She hadn't been in the store more than 4 or 5 times. I mean, it was a small town and everyone knew us, but and I just said, oh my gosh, let's go down to the bank. I'll give you, we'll get a contract. And she goes, no, 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 you'll pay me back. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I had to drag her down there. And yes, we did pay her back. But I mean, bingo. So then we have this house. Now it's 2 acres up on top of the hill with a big wide river running on the backyard, and the little valley with the glistening lights of the town in the front yard. And we're living there now debt-free, basically, except for paying her back. When we sold that, I lived in about 5 homes. Now, these are homes, folks. It's not, people don't walk in and say, oh, this is so cute. Oh, this is really nice, or how pretty. No, it's always, oh my gosh. Oh, I mean, it's not, it is 99.9% of the time. Yeah. And so I'm going to get to the fun part here. So then we just keep going with this. It just keeps happening and happening and happening. Then my mother has a stroke. My daughter burns her feet in college, and I've got to come up. Now I'm single, and I've got to, I'm going back and forth between hospitals. I use up every penny I have. We sold the store and everything, so I had some money, but use it all up going for 4 or 5 months going back and forth with hospitals. So they asked me if I'll help ramp up their Chamber of Commerce in Central Oregon. So I do, but the income, I have to ramp it up. The income to start off with was $1,250 a month. Well, you can't, this was a 5-star resort area. Can't really find too much for that. And so, but you see, I just visualized maybe being in the attic of a cute log cabin or something. Just, something. I did have a 16-year-old son and a big black lab, but I didn't worry about it.
Yeah.
That we can release that worry, release the negative vibes, and just think of the possibilities. And so some realtor that I knew who he was, he comes, he says, I have a place I want you to look at, come look at. So we go out and we get out of the car, and it looks like a nice home, but then we walk around and we are on this deck overlooking a lake, the sound of a waterfall, and then a 30-foot wide river wrapping around this 4 acres. I looked at him and I said, how much? He goes, well, it rents for $3,400, but the man's willing to give it to you for less because you're helping the community by ramping up the chamber. And so the gentleman comes over, and you could worry, that you have a black lab that sheds a lot, and you have a 16-year-old teenage son, and you know. But he comes over, and I'm standing on the deck by myself, and he says, "Hello, how are you?" And I said, "Great." And my son comes walking across from the lake, and he goes, "You have a teenage boy?" And I said, "Yes, yes." And just as I do that, my son comes up and says, "Mr. Barnett, it's very nice to meet you." And he says, he says, "I noticed that the pitch on the roof isn't very high, so I will keep that, I'll keep the snow off of that, because we're supposed to have a lot of snow this winter." And he said a few things, and he goes, "Well, thank you. Yeah, that'll be good." And then the dog walks up, and he goes, "Oh, no, it's a furnished home." He says, we've never had a dog in there." And I said, "Well, we can keep her in the laundry room." He goes, "No, and the dog, my dog comes over and bows at his feet. And I said, "Whoopi, I'd like you to meet Mr. Barnett." And he goes, "How much can you pay?" And I said, $625. He goes, "Okay, move in whenever you want." $3,400. So, and here's the fun part. That's even funner. It's all fun. The headwater to the river was on that property, right? The lake was fed from 100 gallons a minute gushing out of the ground. Now, the universe has this amazing sense of humor, and just, like, just watch me. So let's do that. Now, I have areas of my life, I'm talking to myself too. I've got 4 or 5 areas of my life where I've nailed it, but there's still these other areas. So I'm listening. Let's not worry about that. Okay, let's just, And so, yeah, the water's gurgling out of the ground. I'm from Southern California, and I'm going, "Oh, please keep gurgling." I've never seen that much water. Anyway, so wonderful experience there. Life is good. And then I want to move down to Southern California. Well, I did ramp the chamber up. I won a bunch of awards, but I still wasn't able to pull out and get any kind of a cushion. And my children are raised. I moved to Oregon to raise my children. And so now I take a trip down to Southern California. Somebody flies me down there to talk to me about my wellness and weight management business. And so I am walking up to this meeting, and here is this darling little cottage on the Cove in La Jolla, California. And it says for rent. And I thought, oh, wow. There's the waves crashing behind, and here's this little 2-bay windows, darling cottage. And I thought, somebody gets to live there. And I'm peeking around and everything. The neighbor comes over and says, we start chatting, and he goes, you need to live here. And I said, well, how much is the rent? And he goes, $1,250 a month. Well, at the time I had $1,000 to my name. And he goes, I said, nah, I don't think I'll be able to pull it off. So he goes back home, gets this piece of paper, writes down this name and number, and gives it to me. Well, before I left town, I called the landlord and I said, so, what's the deal? It's first and last month rent. That's it, and it was vacant. So I get home. I can't stop thinking about it. The waves crashing in the front yard, and it's like, oh, wow. So I call the number. Okay, folks, again, the universe, there's no limitations. If you can hear me, folks, please repeat after me. No limitations, none. Okay? So I call, and this young lady answers, and she says, yeah, Scott told me about you, and she says, how much money do you have? And I said, well, what? She said, well, my mom and dad paid for a year's lease. I fell in love and I moved out, and there's 3.5 months left. How much do you have? And I said, well, I've almost got $1,000, but I need a U-Haul to get my stuff from Oregon. And she goes, well, $640. How does $640? So I lived in this home for 3 months for $640. And for some reason, the landlord brought it down to $1,150 when I did move in. Some reason. And folks, guess what? Now I can tell you that these places are spectacular, and the waves were crashing, and La Jolla is a fun little village town to live in. But that year, that home was listed in Robb Report, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a real high-end business magazine. It was listed in Robb Report as one of the top 100 homes in the world to live.
Wow.
We had 640 when she moved in. So
Incredible.
from there, I take a corporate job, and I ramped up a really fun business, and that was fun. But then I take this corporate job, and I end up in Laguna Beach, California, and I have a couple oceanfront places, but I buy these 2 little cottages that are ocean view and absolutely adorable. And that time I had enough money. I had almost, I had 400,000 in the bank. So yeah, so of course you're gonna, buy that. So, and then I sold that, and I've missed a lot of other ones in between, but I sold that one, and I bought an oceanfront cottage where the waves literally were crashing 30 feet in front of my home.
Beautiful.
And that time I had money too, but, and again, every one of those places is just, over the top. And then I left there and I bought a boat. I don't know if you can see the boat.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And I lived on that for 10 years. And again, every time someone stepped on it, it was like, and it wasn't a yacht, it was a small yacht, but people would just, there's energy. So anyway, if you want housing, if you want something different, you just, it's all about just getting in the flow, and it's not that hard. The easier we are about it, the easier. I was easy. I didn't even, all I had was this desire to live in a fun place, to always live in a fun place.
Yes.
And fun happened to end up being beautiful.
And you detach, you said a couple of things. You have absolute belief. And when you said at the beginning, think and grow rich, I noticed you said you were dreaming things, and that's what kids do. They dream and they don't even think about obstacles. And it sounds like you're in that kind of space.
I was in that space. I was so in that space, yes. Because when I didn't have any money, didn't have very much of a salary, all I could do was visualize the fun, different places it might be. But it always was cute, fun, and different and unique. So it definitely, it works. And then the same thing with jobs. You want a job. So there I am. I end up in Beverly Hills, and yeah, I'm cute. But they find me on the street, and they ask me if I'll hold a sign for them, if I'll do this. I end up becoming a model in Hollywood eventually, and it was like I had lived in the country, anyway, so I modeled in Hollywood for 3 years. And some of the jobs that I've had, now I did not have a college. I do not have a college education. Did not make any difference. Now I wanted my children, you're going to go to school. Some things happened. I didn't make it because of some parental situations. But I wanted my children, but I didn't. And I'm in the world. And so some of the jobs I've had, are you ready for this? This is just high school education. I was marketing director in charge of economic development for an international port. I was the highest level of supervisor of the highest level of technical support when they were launching one of the cellular services here in the United States. I was a city council person. I was a school board chairman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there are no limitations. And I was one of the top jobs in the state of Oregon when I worked for the port. And I was the only one that did not at least have a master's degree. So, but I had confidence, desire, love, excitement.
Yes.
Excitement about how much fun this would be. So
And you detached from the outcome, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, what did I have to lose? I mean, I'm going over there. I knew all the people that I knew how many people were applying for the job, but you know, I just got into that place and I just, you know, I talked from my heart and not, you know, yeah, I was a little tiny bit nervous, but not very much. It was fun. It was so much fun to even go over there and have the interview. The office was looking over the whole day and everything. So yeah. So the jobs have also, and those are just things that, you know, it's just, you just have to know it. And whatever happened to you as a child with your parents, that is the past. Can you see the clock above my window there?
Oh yes, beautiful.
It just says now. It just says now. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Well, I don't know.
Oh yes.
It just says.
Yes. Yes.
It just says now. There are no hands. No hands on that clock. It's just a pendulum, and it just says now. You can go to nowclocks.com if you want one. And it's now. It's right now. It's not any other time. It's right now. And that's what it's all about, is just living in the now and not letting the, you know, the worry and stuff. And then when you find yourself worrying, laugh at yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Laugh at yourself and just go, oh, you got to be kidding me. That's unpleasant. I don't think I'll do that anymore. And just laugh. Don't say, oh, what am I doing? I'm just, you know. So life is supposed to be fun. And it has been very, very fun. I'm going to be 70 in a couple weeks. And that's another one of the things I have. I'm hot. I'm going to do a bikini photo shoot the morning of my 70th birthday. I did one on the morning of my 65th birthday. And I mean, it's just, I know, you know, it's just something I know. You know, I'm a little kid at heart. So,
I absolutely, Laura, I love your confidence. I love the way you said a few minutes ago, I'm cute, I'm hot, because and it is, I can see you're having fun with the universe and you're taking life very lightly, and that's absolutely the way to be.
Yes, 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 yes. And so when you know, the one of the most important things is to not beat yourself up and to have fun with it, and to you know, you don't have to believe. You just have to get in a place where you're just having fun. Just have fun and be light. And because I would never have said, oh well, yes, I'll take one of the, when I have less than 1,000 in the bank, I'll take one of the top 100 homes in the world to live. I mean, you know, I didn't do that, but it happened, and I promise it can happen. And the sillier and more childlike you are, the the easier it comes.
Yes.
And then to appreciate whatever you have. And I was starting to say that my parents, my childhood growing up, the reason I didn't end up going to college is my mother left my father the day after I graduated from high school. And there was stuff. We all have stuff from our childhood. We all have this past. But guess what? I rewrote my story. And only things that I picked out of that past were the good things. The only things were the good things. And the rest of it, you know, it just, I just chose to not even look at that. It could be, and some people say, yeah, well, you don't know. Folks, I know. My mom tried to commit suicide 3 times, and I'm the one that found her from the time before I was 18. And so, okay, so I'm sorry. Whatever's happened, that's a biggie, and it ain't fun to come home and see /risk from your mama. So it doesn't make any difference. She was the coolest. Her good was so good. It was so good. And I focus on that. And I'll close here with my favorite thing. And this is what you can always find something about any situation, no matter what it is. And mine was when I didn't do my chores, my mom would come in, lean on my bedroom door and go, take out the papers and the trash, or you won't get no spending cash. Yakety yak, don't talk back. And I would I'd get up and I'd go do my chores. But I mean, and I could focus on the stuff that was scary in my
Mm.
life and bad, but I don't. Whenever I just would focus on how adorable she was with that, and it just we can get past and we can live in the now if we just just focus on the things that in every area, but especially our past. What did work?
Yes, yes. That's been great. I have loved again, once again, the interview has been far more than I expected. I love your as the French say, your I can't say it now, joie de vivre. You've just got
Joie de
such a
vivre. That's what I
that's
named my first boat. Joie de vivre. Coincidentally. Thank you, universe. We like it.
It's just been great interviewing Laura. I just loved your story. And just before you go, you say you've let any of the negativity go. Have you used anything to let it go? Any tapping or anything, writing it down, or what? What did you?
Oh,
How did
yes.
you let
Oh,
it
yeah.
go?
I start my morning with 15 minutes of guided meditation. And then I listen to 15 or so minutes of Abraham Hicks on YouTube.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then I write my list of appreciation. And I go for, my body, my, my income, my relationships, whatever it is. I go to the positive, and those first few moments when you wake up, that is the most vital time, because that starts the momentum of the day. Everything's been quieted down when you're asleep, and then as soon as you wake up, if you can just jump in ahead of those thoughts that come and go, wait a minute, I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about running through a mud puddle, or skipping down a street, or just being silly and just lighten it up. That's so important.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. And next, I'll leave the details for Laura below, and also to find out more about me, click the link below. And I'll be back next week with another great interview. And in the meantime, take care. Love you to lots. And if you're not around, you can watch the replay. Talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks, Laura.